Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be completing this Crack Me challenge on this website, CRACKMES.ONE. The specific Crack Me that I picked out here was this licensed keygen Crack Me. The reason I picked this one out is that it was using the .NET language, which is perfect because, as you know, or if you don't know, I actually haven't uploaded in like 7 months. So I'm going to be uploading a lot more videos regularly again. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe. I'm also going to be making a lot of malware analysis videos. So if you guys want to see that, go ahead and subscribe. But let's get right into today's video. So like I said, this is a licensed keygen using .NET. And pretty much all we need to do is create a keygen. And that's kind of the solution for this. Obviously it's using .NET, so I'm pretty certain that I can easily find the password. But the goal of this is to create a keygen, so let's get right into it. Now, I've already downloaded the program and I have it right in here. So the program is just called Crack Me. So I do want to open it up and look at the file real quick. I'm going to use Detected Easy here. Let's open it up on Detected Easy just so we can get some information about this program. Okay, so Detected Easy came back here and it told us it is a .NET, and then the language is C#. It tells us it's a P32, so we know it is a Windows file. Obviously we already know that. It tells us it's P32, so it's 32-bit. Click on entropy here, let's take a peek, see if anything's packed. So it says you're not packed. For the most of it, 61%, so we should be good. I mean, it's .NET, so pretty easy to figure it out. Anyways, we're going to be using dnSPY 32 to analyze this, so let's go ahead and open it up. So we can see it's right here, Crack Me. Let's go ahead and open it up. Crack Me. I'm going to go into here. Okay, there's nothing much in here. We're going to go into Crack Me then, and program. So here is the main function for program. We're on a new window, so let's go to that. So window. Alright, so in window, it seems like this is the main piece of the program. Now, I completely forgot to actually run the program, so let's go ahead and do that. So this program is asking us for a username and a serial key, and the bottom here says license not active. Let's do 888A, and serial key, let's do, I don't know, B, C, I don't know, just some random numbers. Not a correct license key. Okay, let's do 123, 123, 123. Alright, again, not a correct license key. So obviously, we're not going to be able to get the license key by just guessing. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at the strings here. So I'm going to type in strings, and then I'm going to go ahead and get the name. Okay, so the middle click doesn't work. Okay, then I guess I'll type it in. Alright, crackme.exe. And this will just give us a bunch of strings. So let's see if there's anything we can find in here. Obviously, probably nothing important, or nothing much that can help us, but we never know. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's anything much in here that can help us at all. I mean, we see stuff like get length, set max length, we're seeing some function names maybe. So all of this isn't really important since we can actually find the source code pretty easily. So I'm not gonna worry about this too much. Alright, so let's get to looking at this program. So remember, we pulled up here, we went to window, and we can see some of the code here. So right away, I do see this function here, generates serial keys. So that's probably important, right? Obviously, that's going to be important. So generate serial key, it takes in a string username, a out string segment 1, out string segment 2, and an out string segment 3. Next we see an if statement here that's gonna say if username.length is less than 4, then it's gonna throw a argument exception, and it's pretty much it's in some weird language here, but I can probably guess that it's saying the username needs to contain 4 characters, at least 4 characters or something like that. Obviously, based on the if statement, we don't need to translate this to figure out what this is saying. Okay, so here we see segment 1, segment 2, segment 3. When segment 1 says window.generate segment username. So whatever function generates segment, we can see it down here, takes an input, so that's probably username. We see username plus salt1, username plus salt2. Okay, so whatever that means, we're about to find out. So here's generate segment. So this generate segment function just takes in an input. So obviously we see the input here. So the first segment that is generating. So I'm obviously assuming that the segments are the 3 boxes that we needed to input the key into. So it takes our username as an input. Okay. And we have a new string called result. And we're using SHA-256, which is a hashing algorithm. And then we have a byte array. So we're computing the SHA hash, and we're going to get that as a byte array. So obviously we need to encode that as UTF-8 first, and then we can get the bytes of that, which is our input, and then we can get the compute hash, which is then a byte array. Looks like we're doing something with a SHA hash, SHA-256 hash, so 256 bits. Okay, and then we have a string builder. Next up, there's a for loop. So this for loop is going to iterate 2 times. So we start off at 0 index. If I is less than 2, we do all of this, and you know, we iterate up to 2 times. Okay, so we have an integer num, which is going to be equal to which is going to take our array. It's going to take the 0 element, whatever's at index 0, and mod that 36, and then we're going to make sure we parse it as an integer. So this is always an integer, and it's stored in here as an integer. Next up, we see a num2, which is pretty much doing the same thing, except we're going to take the third one, right? We're going to go 0, 1, 2, so we're going to get that third index and mod that by 36, and parse it as an int, and store that in int num2. We have a character or char, which is named value. So we're checking if number is less than 10. Then we want to add 48 to num and get that character. Otherwise, we will subtract 10 from num, add 65, and get that character, which is an ASCII character. For num2, it looks like we're actually doing the same thing, except we're using num2 instead of num. And at the bottom here, we have our string builder, which is going to take the 2 values, value and value2, and append that together. So, and then the result is going to be equal to string builder and 2 strings. So whatever string builder is, we're going to convert that to a string and store that into a result. So as previously mentioned, there was this string builder here. I do want to quickly cover what string builder does. I don't want to make these videos too long, but I do want to try to explain everything in the code just in case, you know, you're not sure what something does. First, we need to understand that strings are immutable, meaning that once I create a new string, that string is now stored into memory and it cannot be changed. So for example, if I had a string and I called it text and I just assigned this to hello, this string text hello is now stored in memory somewhere and it cannot be changed. Now you may be asking, what about if I wanted to update that string and I did something like this, right? This string, this will still work, right? But what ends up happening is this creates a new string object, and now text is now going to be pointing to the memory, or pointing to that object, and text is hello world. This string text up here is still in memory somewhere, but it can't be accessed. So this is why we use string builder. String builder will then update this original object. You can see for performance reasons why we would want to do that. And you know, we move on. And also I want to cover something real quick here. What is string builder to string? Why do we need to convert it to a to string? String builder itself isn't a string. It's a mutable object for building strings. So we need to convert it back to a string using the toString function. I'm gonna probably go through one segment and then I'm going to start building the keygen from there, because I'm not sitting here and calculating all of this by hand for each one of these segments. That's just going to take way too long. But let's just start with the first segment. So segment 1, it says window that generates segment username. And the program username was what we had to enter, right? With enter our username. So you can obviously assume that the text that goes into username will be what is being used in the first generate segment. So the first thing we need to do is we know our username. So I'm going to assume that my username is 4A's, A. That's my username. And we then go into our function we have a string result, which gets nothing. Using SHA-256, we create a new SHA hash, okay? And we have a byte array, SHA.compute, encoding UTF-8, so we have to convert it. So remember, we have to convert our input to UTF-8, get the bytes, then with using that, we can compute the hash. What I'm gonna do for this is I'm actually gonna create a Python script that can do this for us. So the first thing I'm gonna wanna do is import hashlib. So hashlib is a library that will help us with hashing of files. We're gonna assign that to our username, something like this. So next up, we go ahead and create the SHA-256 hash object. Remember, that is very similar to what was going on in the original code, this line right here. Next, we want to go ahead and compute the hash. So obviously we need to encode it as UTF-8 first, and then we can get the hash. And next up, we're going to get the byte array of that hash. Finally, we want to go ahead and print the byte array. So we're going to just create a loop for byte and byte array, print byte. As you can see, we do print byte, and then to ensure each value is not going to be put on a new line, we'll just put a end and a space here. That way each value can just be evenly on the same line, printed out pretty nicely. So there we go, we've got ourselves the byte array for AAAA. As we can see, segment 2 will take the username, and it will take some text salt1, put the username separate, because I wanted to do something like this, so I could just have username be on its own, and then input string would be username plus salt, what is it, salt1. Okay, so I see why I did that now. Okay, now if we run this, we're gonna get that byte array, but we actually don't want that right now, so let's go ahead and remove that. And there you go. So let's go ahead and copy this because we're going to need this. Okay, so I'm back in my notepad, and I'm just going to put this in here. This will be the byte array for segment 1. So now we're back in here. Let's go ahead and look at what's next. This is going to create a new string builder, and it's just called string builder. That's it. Then we have the for loop, which starts at 0. So the first index in the array, so whatever that is. Okay, so first up, let's go ahead and read int num. So let's go ahead and copy this. I think it'll be pretty good to copy it and have it. And then we can just fill it out. So int num equals int array of I. So what is int array of I? 99, that's 0. 99 mod 36. So what is 99 mod 36? So I'm just gonna pop open a calculator here so you guys can see. I just want to make it clear what I'm doing. So 99 mod 36, and it's gonna be 27. So 99 mod 36, it's gonna be 27. And let's go back to the code, and now we're doing that to num2, which is now I plus 2 mod 36. I plus 2 is 0, 0, 1, 2 to 221 mod 36. What is that? So 221 mod 36 is 5. And now we have a char. So char value. So if num, which is this one, if num is less than 10, then we want to add 48 to num, convert that to a char. Otherwise, we want to subtract 10 from num, add 65, and then convert that to a char. So let's see what our num value is. So our num value is 27. So 27 is not less than 10, obviously. So we're going to be doing the other half of this problem, which is 27 minus 10, 17, 65 plus 17, which is 82. Okay, so we know that char value is equal to, so char value at this point, we know the number value is 82, but we need to now get the character value. So this is going to be a decimal to ASCII. What is 82 as ASCII? Let's go ahead and find that out right now. 82 as ASCII is R, the letter R. So char value for segment 1 is R. And then we have char, what is it? I think it was value 2. And we have 5 in this one. So let's go back. So num2 is less than 10 because it was 5. Okay, so we add 48 to that. That's going to be 53. and we want to get the char value of 53. The ASCII value is actually 5, so it's actually the same up here. So R5 so far. So our segment so far is R5. All right, let's move on. I think we now have to iterate through. So obviously we would string builder would append that value, and we move on into the loop. We're now going to increment. So I is now going to be the second value. So 193, and now we're gonna have to do that again. Now I'm only gonna do this. I'm gonna do this for the first segment. This will be really long, so let's just quickly run through this one. All right, so 193 mod 36, so that would be 13. So now we have the I plus 2, so 149. 149 mod 36 is 5. So we already know what 5 is, so that's good. Now we're gonna have to get our num values. So we know 5 is gonna be this one, since it's 5 and 5. So 5, and let's get 13. 13 minus 10 is 3. 65 plus 3 is 68. It's gonna be the capital letter D. So we have, D5. So far, R5, D5. Right. So now we actually don't have to iterate anymore, because this is saying if I is less than 2. So it's not less than or equals, so we're actually good. The first segment is R5, D5. Now, if you want to, you guys can run through this and do all of this by hand, one by one, or we can start working on a keygen. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather start working on a keygen, because I'm not going to try to sit here and generate each one of these one by one. Now, before we start working on the keygen, there's one thing I didn't show you guys, and that is I can actually get the password. So the reason I want to get the password now, so that way I can fact check it with my keygen. So here's what we're going to do. I want to know what result is. So I'm probably going to set a breakpoint at result. We're going to add breakpoint here at result. This is actually the final result for for each segment. So the first segment will give me this. Then the second segment. So we actually don't want the one that's right here. We just want this one, because this will give us the final key or final password for that segment. So I'm actually just only going to put one right here. Let's go ahead and run this. Let's press start, let's press OK, don't break. We're going to pay attention to this menu down here. So first let's type in the username, and let's type in the password. I press log in, and there you go, it broke. So as you can see, we've got the input, which was our username. I want to show you guys result, right? This is what we're looking for, because we can actually see result right here. We have R5, D5. Okay, remember I put AAA, and we got R5, D5 as our first segment. So this is giving us the first segment, which is R5, D5. Let's go ahead and press continue. The second result is JNGZ, so let's go ahead and take note of that. NGZ, and let's run it one more time, and the final one should be 1503. Now, I didn't show you guys this because I just want to show you guys how the program worked first, because we still have to create a keygen. Let's go ahead and continue now, and that should be the end of the program. So let's go ahead and test that password though. Alright, so I went ahead and filled out the password, log in, and boom, license active is AAAA. Now, obviously that only will work for AAAA. If I swap it up, it will not work, but it is active for AAAA. So let me go ahead and build the keygen, and I'll be right back. And also, I want to say that I'm going to be using Python for this. It's pretty easy. You can use whatever language. Alright guys, so here's our keygen that we're going to be using. Now it is about exactly the same as the one in here. It's just that it was converted to Python. Remember how we were getting the byte array? We do have that as well. We are looping through 2 times. We are calculating our modulus for 36 for each one. We're getting the characters. Then we're going to go ahead and append the values to result, combine them. This is the generate license key function. This is generate segment, this generate license key. So remember, we had this part. We have segment 1, segment 2, segment 3 with salt 1, salt 2, and we also have our check here to make sure that username must at least must contain at least 4 characters, where we can actually input our username. It will then create the license key, and then it will just print us this generated license key. So pretty simple as that. Honestly, you guys could have just taken this code and reused it. Just modify it and you could have reused it as a new C# program. So let's go ahead and run this program and see what happens. Let's actually just put in AAA because that's the one we used. And there it is, guys. R5D5 JNGZ1503. That was what we got. So yeah, that's good. Now let's try a different username. Let's try race cars. Because why not? Who doesn't like race cars? So race cars, we get this as our username, or I'm sorry, as our password. Let's go ahead and try that out. So we put in race cars, put in the password 2HHB. So these are case sensitive since it is ASCII. So if I did something like G and then I put C09 like this, I put a lowercase c, it won't work. Let's just show you guys that right now. So that won't work. So let's just go ahead and make sure this is capital. And it'll work. That's the same with this as well. It won't work because it's case sensitive. So license keys active for race cars. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. It's kind of a long video, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I try to explain everything in detail as much as possible. It's really important that you understand how the code works, because if you don't understand how the code works, then there's no point for you to create a keygen. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please go ahead, drop a like, subscribe. I will be making more videos. I have videos on malware analysis planned. So if you guys are interested in malware analysis, go ahead and subscribe, guys. You're not going to want to miss the videos I've got planned. So that's pretty much all I got. I'll see you all in the next video.